Thank you very much. It's Anguelov for the record, but that's fine. Yeah, today I wanted to discuss something that usually founders don't say when they build something, is how do you revolutionize a boring industry? Airco is a phone system. I just don't have like a clip here. It is a phone system in the cloud, so it is actually a boring thing. When I tell my friend what I do usually, they're like, oh, okay, I don't get it. It's better to do a marketplace. But so I'll explain you a bit the story of Airco and how we're trying to revolutionize the phone system industry, the business phone system industry, by making it simple and, and more connected to the tools that companies are using. So if we look a little bit at the landscape, how we came up with the idea of Airco, we figured out that most of business tools have been revolutionized for the past years. Emails have been completely revolutionized with Gmail. Same with chats. Usually chats were something that was built in-house in most of companies. Slack came, they completely revolutionized it. And finally, all the different tools that the business is using every day have been revolutionized one by one. And the only one, the last one that wasn't in the cloud, that wasn't a tool completely connected to all the tools that our companies are using, that is easy to set up, was the phone. And that's how Airco came, with a simple solution that you can integrate in your company in a minute and integrate it to all the tools that your company is using. A quick intro about who we are. So we are about a bit more than 200 people, split it between Paris and New York. More than 35% of our revenues are coming from the US. The rest is mainly in Europe and in Asia, with a big focus with the main European country like Germany, Spain, France, UK, Ireland, Scandinavia, etc. And a big part also in Australia. Today we've raised about 41 million, probably the less important thing. And an important thing is that, yeah, we've done more than 1 billion calls through Airco. 1 billion calls have made through Airco in the past 4 years, which is a huge number if you look at traditional phone company, how much minutes they're making year over year and just after 4 years. So why Airco is so revolutionizing? It's because it's a purely cloud-based phone system that anyone can set up in a minute, anywhere in the world. We provide you the phone numbers you need. You can add your users, add the numbers you need, create complex routing rules, create anything that a call center would need, that a regular phone system needs, anything in a minute. The good thing is that, as I said, we connect to the tools that companies are using. So you can connect to your CRM because you're a sales team. The sales team makes a lot of calls, and you need every single call to be recorded into the CRM so that you remember what you discussed with your clients, what are the last things you said, is this client a loyal client, etc. So you record everything. The same, it can be in a help desk, it can be in an ITS for an HR team. Any tool that makes sense to connect the phone system to, Airco is connected to. You can, like, that's a few pictures here, but that shows that a child of 12-year-old can set up now the phone system of a company in a minute without the need of any development, without the need of external things. Everything is connected. And the good news is because we are a software, of course, we are also mobile. So you can take and receive your calls on your computer, but also on your mobiles. And since we are this software that is your phone system, we are connected, and every single thing that you do on Aircall will be pushed in the software you choose, so to make your team more productive. Our vision is quite simple. We see it as a little bit as a rocket ship in 3 different aspects. Be a 10 times better phone system, the voice as an integration, so bring the voice really in the tools that you need. So because the voice is what matters. The conversation you have are usually with people that matters, so it's important to have a record of this conversation so that you can re-listen to it, analyze them later, etc. And augmented conversation. So let's look at why 10 times a better phone system. After just 4 years and a half now, Airco has been like the top performer on all the reviews websites. So we are first on every single reviews website like GetUp, Capterra, G2 Crowd. We've worked so hard to get to that because we don't only try to make the software simpler, we try to make it better and bring you more value. So you move from having a phone system that is something quite a commodity usually. It's, you know, you make a call, you receive a call, and that's it. Information is lost. To something that actually brings value and makes your team more productive. The second part is voice as an integration. We are currently building a marketplace of over 200 integrations with tools that Aircall will connect with. So I discussed about CRM, self-help desk, but I mentioned also ATS, but it can be also AI tools. It can be Google Suite. So it can be anything that could bring value. And now, so that's the last step. That's the augmented conversation. And so what can we do with it? That's a few examples. It's like enrich the dashboard of, let's say, a call center team, a support plus sales team. So they could be able to, we are able to analyze the sentiment analysis. How many times a word has been mentioned during a conversation of your support team. Let's say if bug is mentioned more this week's, this month's, you should see what's going on. Anything, admin alerts, basically give you all the insights that you need to make your team in general more productive. Another thing, a Google Calendar integration that we're currently working on. You're speaking with someone. You're deciding, let's have a talk tomorrow or Friday at 9:30 a.m. We hear that. At the end of the call, Aircall pops up with this screen and tells you, hey, do you want me to create the meeting right away? So you create the meeting. We already have the email because we are connected to your CRM. We know who we are sending the email to. Everything is being sent in a minute, so you don't lose time to create a Google Calendar, etc. You just push the invitation through Aircall directly through a Google Calendar invitation. So what does it mean in terms of growth? We have been growing extremely fast. As a comparison, I like to see how the top SaaS have been growing in the world, and that's how Airco is being positioned in between them. So this is from 1 to 10 million ARR. We are way above that, but it's just a way to just show you that when you can revolutionize a very boring industry, something that no one cares, is the phone system. People have a black box on their office and they pick up the phone and that's it. When you create a software, when you change the rule, you change the way companies are working, this is where interesting things are coming. And we've been growing faster than Shopify, as an example, even though they've been created 8 years ago, but as a comparison on 1 to 10 million. And in terms of retention, that's also very interesting. So when your product works and your product like gives to people confidence that you're bringing something else that just what the regular product would expect, this is what happens. So the day, if you take a simple, an average of a client, let's say he starts at $100, at Airco after a year, he's already at $175. So it's because every team finds a good thing into Airco, and so they scale with us, and we help them scale. We discovered in several companies a new way for them to use their phone system. Several HRs, for instance, were not using so much the phone. They preferred to do video conference, or they were picking up the calls with the candidates and not having so much information, and we help them to do better. So that's why we have such a net expansion growing quite fast. How did we do that? It's quite simple. It's by being from day one international and by having only two things that matter in a company and that probably are the most important is on one side the culture and the other side the growth. So the culture is really you have a project, you have something that you want to work on, is how do you have each individual that is in your company understands the culture of what you want to do, understand the culture of Airco, and that we are trying to revolutionize an industry that has been for years owned by a few very, very big guys and try to disrupt them. And on the other side, of course, it's not just making something beautiful, it's growing, changing the way company use, answer the questions, and just make it better. Thank you so much for listening.